Sense.
One of the things I want to discuss is how they're going to do that, because a lot of people are like, well, I own a home. Even if my home is paid off or I'm paying a mortgage, how is the government going to get me out of my house? Well, if you haven't heard about the Energy Performance of Building Directive, that's exactly how they plan to do it. So I'm sure you've been in your home before, or you've looked at a home. You ever seen or had it happen to you where your roof requirements don't meet code, right? I'm sure you've heard that before. Oh, you're not up to code with you have a tree that's hanging over a fence in someone else's lawn, that type of stuff, where they force you to repair something on your home because it's not safe and it's hazardous. Those types of techniques. Well, the Energy Performance of Building Directive is going to force not just buildings where people work, but buildings where people rent, as well as buildings known as your home, to comply to the government's green agenda, which means that you're going to have to put in all the electric things that we all refuse to get and do, not just because they're useless, because they're controlled by the government, but because they're flat out gay. Those types of things they will be able to push on you because it's being pushed into law. Europe is where this is beginning, but places like Germany are also implementing this. Many countries are already implementing it, and America will implement this. But before they do so, they need to get a certain something out of your hands and the citizens' hands so that they can do it. So Babylon America will probably be last on the list because Americans are not going to comply with this garbage. But here's an example of what that is.
This is a pioneering neighborhood in Germany. Solar panels, green roofs, pedestrianised streets for children, and low-energy housing. Built at the turn of the century, the eco-district of Vauban is now home to around 6,000 inhabitants. Astrid Meyer lives in one of the 48 Energy Plus houses on site.
La maison est construite de manière à garder la chaleur. Une fois qu'il y a de la chaleur dans la maison, on ne la perd pas puisqu'il y a un triple vitrage, il y a 40 cm d'isolation, donc la chaleur ne peut pas sortir.
These homes produce more energy than they expend, an exemplary case that the European Union would like to see developed elsewhere. Buildings are responsible for 40% of Europe's total energy consumption. Some 75% of buildings are considered energy inefficient. To address this issue, the new law will encourage the renovation, promoting the use of smart technologies such as automation and control systems that will enable buildings to operate efficiently. In Copenhagen, this residential building constructed at the end of the 19th century.
I didn't understand that.
Within the exterior walls.
I'm working today. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, 2 o'clock. Yeah. Maybe 11 or so. Probably head home. First thing in the morning, I gotta go to catch a ride with Grandma and Grandpa, and I gotta go to get a new title to sell my van, and then I have to do all this. Busy day tomorrow, then back to work Tuesday. Never ends. What about it? I'm going with Grandma and Grandpa to Mansfield tomorrow. They have a doctor's appointment. I'm gonna go get a title so I can junk my car. And I think so. The plan. I gotta drive around. And how it is every week.
Well, it's more affordable and it's better for the environment, but it's going to cost you $100,000 up front to change your whole heating system.
Smaller filtration than ordinary HEPA purifiers. That means you can breathe.
That clip you saw is just what it's going to look like, right? And people are so dumb, they're like, oh man, we can conceal more heat in our home. Yeah, you can conceal more heat in your home. Don't open the window or the door, right?
So pre-filter captures water.
So in other words, by doing those things, they're imprisoning you more in your home. Oh, don't open the door, Johnny. Someone's in the door. No, we can't let the heat out. The government's only allowing us to run the heat for 3 hours. And then when the 3 hours up, we have to turn the heat off, but we have to conceal the heat. Then they're not going to realize that they're being imprisoned, of course, because there's 2 top down and 2 in love with green energy, even though it's all a facade. A facade to gain control over your life. This right here is total control. They're trying to push this agenda by 2030. And it's part of the Green New agenda. Blueprint, which that's the first leg of this. 2050, there aren't going to be gas cars. You aren't going to have a gas stove. You aren't going to have, and you might say, well, for my dead body, well, I feel the same way. They're going to have to come drive, where I live. They're going to have to take me out of the house, and I'm never going out without a fight. That's for sure. I'm going out in a body bag probably, but hey, you know what? Not going along with it. But they'll convince all of these people who are high-minded that we're enemies of the state even more than they already have by not going along with these enslavement tactics. Now, the majority of people, I don't want to say the majority of people who own homes are non-liberals, but the majority of people who want this stuff for obvious
What?
reasons, they don't realize what's going to happen to them
I'm
with the
paying
wealth.
attention.
That even if you have the money,
12 o'clock.
you will not be able to survive without them coming and taking away your property. You might buy it a little bit of time. People who are renting, right? That's what a lot of people who rent, and they complain about that. Your rent is going to spike through the roof. But you'll be okay with it because you're brainwashed into thinking you'll be saving the environment, and you have no
That
idea
bed
what's
comfortable
actually
for you?
happening. Then all of a sudden, when you're freezing in the middle of the night, you can't turn your
Nicer than
heat
the
on.
last one?
You've got electric, and in reality, your thermostat isn't controlled by you anymore.
Did you have
It's controlled by the government.
that thing on your old one where you pull on it?
When you want to cook eggs on your gas stove, you use an electric stove, but you only have X amount of minutes that you can use the stove every day.
Yep.
Right, that's not the way it's going to be. Oh no. Why do you think they've been preparing you for things like how often you can shower or flush a toilet? You're building your own prison cell. I've been saying it for a decade, at least. On YouTube, I've been saying it for many years. Your technology is your surveillance, and then your home is now turning into a jail cell. You'll get but you'll be happy. You'll owe nothing. Of course, we all know the saying. But you'll be able to turn your thermostat up to a certain amount. But wait, actually you won't, because they'll be the ones who are determining what your thermostat does. You're being prepared for that now by having a thermostat that's controlled by Wi-Fi. Sooner or later, they'll be telling you, hey, you don't control the thermostat anymore. We'll control it for you. So you don't have to worry about getting up or going on your phone, changing the temperature. We're going to control it for you, so it's bearable. But you're still going to be wrapped in sheets in your home in the winter, and we're going to tell you, now ahead of time that all this stuff we've done to your windows will conceal more heat. So in your brain, you're thinking, oh, wow, I'm saving on my electric bill, even though we're all going to have the same equity, so it won't matter. And you're not realizing the reason that they're doing this to your windows and your doors and concealing you inside is to imprison you in your home, because you're not going to want to leave. You're not going to want to go to the grocery store because you don't want the heat to leave. You don't want the air conditioning, the coolness to leave. So what are you going to do? You're going to order stuff from Amazon. You're going to use Instacart. You're going to use all these convenient things that people use and have it dropped off at your door, right at your prison cell. So this is a tactic that they're going to use to lure people into these cities. People are not going to be able to afford the changes to their home. Most people have not paid off their mortgage, obviously. They make it nearly impossible to do so. So technically, the banks can just raise your mortgage, double your mortgage, and you won't be able to afford it, because the banks will say, well, you have to make these changes to your home. It's government mandated. So we're going to have to raise your mortgage because you're not doing it. You're not going to be fine.
Excuse me.
It's going to be an unbelievable nightmare that, believe it or not, we actually have a portion of our society that's asking for it, begging for it, and demanding it. Underneath some of these videos, comments of people saying, this looks great. I can't wait. I mean, are you joking? these people do not know what they're even asking for. And, you know, as you saw in the EPET video, of course the comments were turned off for Siemens, where they're talking about it, where they're saying, look, you're going to have to do it. Continuous monitoring, right? It includes continuous monitoring, higher energy efficiency, and individual room control. All by the government. And, I mean, I don't know what people are looking at, but is anybody trusting in the current governments that are in place right now around the world? I mean, I'm talking about America here, but I know how bad it is in other countries.
1970.
Wherever she was,
Says this came out in 1970.
Australia.
Says this came out in 1970.
Restraints that they put on lives, how they butt into everything, and now they want to butt in to the comforts of your own home because you don't deserve it, and they do. Now, they're not going to comply to any of these things. I'm sure they'll film some videos, some stock footage. You know, CBS 60 Minutes will show up at the White House, not the White House, the White House did it, right? They're leading by example. And meanwhile, they're underground, they're not there. They've sucked all the resources underground,
Yikes.
all the food, all the water supplies, and they're living like kings, you know, hiding amongst us. They'll be on their islands, they'll be flying private jets. They won't allow you within a certain amount of feet of the private airports so that people no longer can monitor them like they currently do. They've seen with technology, they're surprised by the fact that when people go to Davos, there's literally people outside of airports filming these people who are coming in on private jets, who are demanding climate change but flying in private jets. They know that. And they know that they're going to have to fake lead by example to get people on board. So they'll go, well, the White House is energy efficient. They follow the energy performance building code or the building directive. And everything's fine again here down to your part, right? Probably be the Antichrist sitting in the White House by then, because this looks like hell on earth to me. The man out there who wants it is out of their mind. They think that, you know, the liberals think that this fake utopia is going to cater to them. They're not even going to survive the beginning of the fake utopia. They're setting them all up to die. Let's be realistic. They're not going to survive. They don't even know what they're asking for. They're so dumb. And they're, you know, useless eaters. They're wasting space. They're the line of defense. Again, they're protecting these people. They're distracting people by standing up for these nonsensical issues that they keep pushing. Race, gender, law.
Remember I told you about my one friend who's like 500 pounds? That reminded me of that. He comes up. You've never been to my partner or whatever, but I reckon you have a long walk and then you got steps. So by the time he gets there, he's walking. I'm not kidding. He walks like this. And he gets up there and he sits down. Because he has to sit in my big chair like that. And he sits down and goes, it's bad. The big man. For sure. It ain't small. Like he can't even go grocery shopping or whatever. He has to go get a cart. Like one of those handicap type carts. I'm not kidding. We walked in and was grabbing something up front. He's like, I gotta grab a cart. I'm like, okay. It's really not that hard to like not eat as much or change what you're eating or walk or anything. It's just ridiculous.
That's the next thing they're working on here. Getting rid of fireplaces because CO2 emissions. Insanity. Utter insanity that we're allowing it to happen. That's the crazy thing. Thank everyone for being here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about the energy performance of building directive. I'm sure most of you have heard about it already, but it's definitely something you need to know about. If you're wondering what their plan is, because I know people out there are homeowners, some of you, and obviously a lot of you have mortgages and stuff. And you're like, well, you know, the smart city, I'm never going to get in there. Well, that's how they're planning on getting people in. Now, it doesn't mean you who listen to this channel are going to get in there. Obviously, I wouldn't assume that. I'd assume you would fight for your property and harm yourself. And that doesn't mean you're going to win, because they'll probably send 30 guys, and it'll be you and a couple people maybe, to defend yourself. But I'd rather go down with the ship than be a part of this gay society. Thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you.